Hi there, Rod Fleming again. Now, you've probably had a look at my previous video, and hopefully you have, because it will help, about the different types of women that a single man in his 50s is likely to meet in Asia, and who might make reasonable partners. And I'm talking about straight men. I'm sorry, I'm not going to discuss the options for gay men, but they are pretty wide. There's plenty of options there for you too. I just don't feel qualified to comment on it. So where would you meet these girls? Well, again, going back to the first and most obvious, the bar. Bar girls are very, very easy to meet. You just go to a bar. If you go to any bar in any kind of area frequented by Western tourists or town centre, there are probably bar girls working there, and they are bar girls. They're not barmaids. There's a difference, you know. These girls are actually prostitutes. I mean, they don't walk around with a big label on their head going, "Ha, I'm a pro." But it's pretty easy to work out who they are. So that's one place you can meet girls. But remember, the only girls you'll ever meet in bars like that are prostitutes. You will not meet, shall we say, regular girls or non-professional girls in a place like that. So let's assume that you're not interested in the services of prostitutes. I am not. I can't be asked for that kind of stuff. So how do you meet girls? Well, my principal experience is the Philippines here, so I'm going to talk about the Philippines, right? Things are slightly different in Thailand, but there's loads of guys talking about Thailand. So you just go and find somebody else. But they'll basically agree. If you're in the Philippines, you have a big advantage. You speak English. Most Filipinos speak English. So they might not speak English that brilliantly, but they'll speak it well, and well enough to have intelligent conversations, you know. Most educated Filipinas, and even, you know, just school educated, have reasonable English, and you'll communicate with them well. So it's a good place to look. So where would you look in a place like that? Well, there's a number of options available to you. If you're really looking for a partner, you need to be in country. And you need to be in country for long periods of time. You don't maybe need to be there 12 months out of 12, but you're going to have to be there a lot more than, you know, 3 weeks out of a year. Okay? That ain't going to work. So let's assume that you're in country. Well, the first place to look is malls. Just walk around malls. You'll find that in the Philippines, girls will respond well to a smile. If you just say, give them a smile, "Hello, how are you?" they'll stop and talk to you. I'm not joking. You know, this is not America. Women in the Philippines are not infected with the horror of Western feminism. If you say hello to a girl, she'll say hello back, because she's polite. She's been brought up to be polite. If you hold the door open for a girl, she'll say thank you. And then you can open a conversation. So be aware that things are very different, and it's actually relatively easy to meet girls. If you see a girl looking at you, and by the way, Filipinas rather, they like Westerners. They do like us. You know, they have a thing. They like white skin. They always think a Westerner is really rich. Well, maybe not all rich, but, you know, that's still their impression. They think we're sophisticated. So they're open to an approach. So you can just go down the mall, spend a couple of afternoons down the mall, you probably will meet someone. I've certainly met girls just sitting next to me in a bar, you know, and said, hi. No, I'm not talking about, you know, like a singles bar. I'm talking about, you know, just sitting outside having a beer, and there's girls at the next table, and you say, "Hi, how you doing?" And they say, "Oh, come and join us." It's that kind of atmosphere. So finding women, meeting women is not that particularly difficult. But let's suppose that, you know, that hasn't worked for you. Well, then there are more specific places to meet girls that are actually looking for a man. And I would suggest late bars and nightclubs. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of place that Westerners go to, right? If you're in Manila, I am not talking about P. Burgos Street. You go to P. Burgos Street, the only women you're ever going to meet are prostitutes. The whole lot. The same, absolutely the same down Pasay. You are never going to meet any regular girls. They're all prostitutes. You want to go to a place like maybe Metro Walk in Ortigas or Eastwood City Walk, and there again, there are no prostitutes here. Well, there might be some hiding around, skulking around the shadows, but it's not. It's full of ordinary people. And there again, you're going to have your wits and your game about you, and it's a question of, hi, how are you this evening? And it works, the girl sitting at the next table, she looks a bit bored and lonely, you say, hey, how are you tonight? And it works. She'll say, she'll either ignore you, or she'll be polite about it, or she'll engage you in conversation and maybe take it further. She won't just be rude and horrible. So don't worry about getting your ego fractured. It just ain't going to happen. Then there's nightclubs. All across the Philippines there's a thing called Paddy's Point. You actually very rarely see Westerners in Paddy's Point, except in places like Angeles or maybe Olongapo, maybe Davao, Cebu, which are well known for their populations of Western tourists. But I tell you, you go to any of the other ones, there won't be a Westerner except you in the place. And again, you're going to get interest. Girls are going to be looking at you. Oh, Western guy. And if you're halfway decent looking, yeah, can I buy you a drink? Just do the usual thing, And by the way, try and dress reasonably. Going out at night, do not wear a pair of shorts and some flip-flops, for goodness sake, and a t-shirt, Try and make yourself look at least presentable, These are very conservative cultures. Men who look like slobs get treated like slobs. Men who look smart and the part get treated with respect. This is not rocket science, folks. If this has all failed for you, and I can think of some guys for whom it would fail, but never mind, you've got dating sites. Now, I advise great caution with dating sites. The first thing to say is that a lot of the pictures that you'll see are not genuine. They're not the real person, and you actually meet them in life and you go, was there something wrong with my specs? That happens. A lot of them are professionals. They're not really interested in meeting men. They're online to meet online men who are still in their home country. They're not actually in country. And so that they can milk them for money, basically. They're working at what I call the sponsorship scam. And I've done a piece on that on my blog. I'll link to it. You don't want to be taken in by that, by the way. It's nasty. If you're looking at dating sites in the Philippines, and in my opinion Thailand's the same, then in the Philippines the one I would look at would be Pinalove, with maybe Dating-Asia as the second bit. If you're looking for ladyboys, Pinalove is unquestionably the best, because you can actually filter your search for ladyboys only. There's Dating-Asia. It's a very successful, very popular site. It doesn't filter by genetic woman, ladyboy, but if you're really looking for... So what that means is that if you're looking for a genetic girl, you might get a ladyboy who's unable to show, because the system doesn't allow her to, that she's not actually a real girl. Just ask. Just ask, they'll tell you. They're not interested in conning you. That's a Western thing, usually. It does happen in Asia, but it's unusual. Certainly on dating sites, they're not going to do that. Another good one for ladyboys would be a thing called Ladyboy Kisses. It's got a very, very clunky interface. It's not easy to use, but it has some nice features. Like, for example, you can download up to 300 different contacts, and you can save these contacts and on a 1 month membership. So you can save a lot more contacts than you could possibly meet in a month. And so if you're on there, you maybe go and pay a month's membership every 6 months, every year, just to update it. And it has a lot of ladyboys, and actually a lot of genetic women on it too, both in the Philippines and in Thailand. One I would be very careful of is a recent startup called My Ladyboy Date. It sells itself as being the one that where you'll meet the decent ladyboys. My opinion is that they don't do anything more than the other sites to verify this, and it's basically a scam. You pay more for the privilege of having your emails read. I wouldn't touch it with a barge pole, but you might like it. Other ways to meet girls, well, and we are really starting to get to the end of the thing here. There's a thing called Craigslist. American viewers will be familiar with Craigslist. Well, there's Craigslist all over Southeast Asia as well. There's a Craigslist Manila, Craigslist Philippines. Various cities have Craigslist in the Philippines, and it's also in Thailand. So you can go on there and check the singles. I would say caveat emptor sort of thing. Be very, very careful. Now, if you're meeting girls off these sites, by the way, I think that it is something that you should be aware of, is that it's unwise to just invite a stranger to your flat, right, or your apartment, or your condo, call it what you will. Make sure that your first meeting with the girl is somewhere public, right? So that if she turns out to be a psycho hose beast, or if it's it's actually an attempt to rob you, then it can be dealt with. A baddie is not going to agree to that, She's just not going to do it. She's going to go, no, and then a girl that insists on coming to your apartment without meeting in public, don't touch it. Don't go near it. By the same token, I always, if I'm meeting a girl like that off a ladyboy site or a dating site of any kind, I always say to them, bring a friend, bring a chaperone. I am not the kind of guy who expects to get in bed with a girl first night out. Indeed, not on the first two. And on these 2 dates, I would actually prefer it if the girl did bring a chaperone. Everybody's going to feel more relaxed, These are conservative societies. Girls do not meet men on their own. It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. When you ask a girl to do that, you're asking her to act outside her cultural norms. Southeast Asians don't do that. Nice girls in Southeast Asia, if they meet a nice boy who's an Asian boy, they meet it in the context of a group. And only once they've made the initial contact, the initial getting to know each other, will they pair off and then meet and date together in private. I mean, they're not that conservative. They're not against sex or anything. But you do have to remember that when in Rome, do as the Romans do. And the way that Southeast Asians do it is only prostitutes go to bed with you on the first date. So it's good policy to say to a girl, first date, bring your friend. Bring a friend with you, or a couple of friends, and accept the fact you're going to be treating a whole bunch of them, right? So there's 2 or 3 of them there. You're paying for everybody's drinks and food for the night. It's okay. If you like the girl, it's a good investment.